Getting a battle theme right is so difficult as a composer. Because they're repeated so much, they have to be bangers. Because when you get bored of a battle theme after like 6 random encounters, you're like, I can't deal with this. This feels like audible torture now. Which some games are kind of like. Yeah, it should have really good replay value. This is the same person. He's grown out of his emo phase, and he's now donning a headband. So we've got Persona 3 protagonist, guy from Attack on Titan, generic elf, any sort of dere, and then a falling grandma plummeting into Earth, like the moon from Majora's Mask. This game's gonna be weird. I'm all for it. Shoji Meguro, the composer, has done Persona 3, Persona 4, Persona 5, all the Shin Megami Tensei. Not many of those are orchestral, so I'm curious to see how he's gonna navigate this. Alright, let's go into this. I'm a bit nervous about this. I'm hoping that this is good. Oof. Yeah! Fire Emblem. This is Fire Emblem. Wait. No, we need to dissect this intro. I think I heard something interesting. Woo! Love that. We want to go to that last melodic note that it's pulling us to. So it's going... We want to hit that G so badly. But instead it's going... It's looping in on itself so beautifully because it's not resolving on purpose so that it continues to keep that tension, which is brilliant. He's removing that final melodic note so that we don't expect a resolution every single time. Yeah, that's it. So it's in C minor and it does the C minor scale at the start just to sort of like ramp up into it almost immediately. Yeah, I think that's it. So it's like C minor. I kind of play like a D minor over F major for this. That's kind of the only sound that I think sounds right here. Because in terms of voice leading, it feels right to go down to that F/D diminished. It doesn't really matter. And it just repeats those 3 chords. Just 1, 4, 1. It just is like one big plagal cadence. Except you're just diminishing that 4 and then you're going back to the 1. It's kind of this like Latin jazz vibe that I get from these chords. Like, it's because of the diminished. It's like that extra spicy like... It's quite dark, Dios de los Muertos kind of dark. Something sanctifying about it. Oof, love that. This is such a hype way to start a battle theme. Woo! Oh, what's going on in that marimba? No, we have to go back. What is actually happening in that marimba? That's hard. It just feels like it's dancing around this 4 rhythm, which I'm going to call the Kingdom Hearts 2 strings that are just like chugging away underneath. That's so Kingdom Hearts. Sora? Yeah, I think the grouping is kind of like 3, 3, 3, 4. Yeah, it's those 2 melodic fragments just kind of like dancing between each other, like a weird, scatty call and response between itself kind of thing. I think the intention of this layer is to just fill the gaps. It's a bit of seasoning. It actually was the first thing that stood out to me. It's kind of like you're just throwing little rhythmic fragments in there, and it being tuned percussion means that you can play this pentatonic scale, which is quite a safe scale to play within the context here, which is just C minor. Playing a C minor pentatonic just makes sense. See, I thought it was kind of like Pokemon, and it was like chromatic. But I don't think it is. I think it's... I think it's just going between the 1 and the minor 4, minor 1 and minor 4. There's nothing controversial here in terms of accidentals, because you're still within, quite firmly within your C minor scale. So playing a C minor pentatonic works perfectly within the context of F minor as well. So yeah, perfect. I love it. I love that marimba layer. So, it's great. Wait, wait, what's happening? I'm so honed in on the rhythms, I've just got like Sacagawea's dad ranting in my ear. What's happening? Wait, let's listen to this. What's going on? This is like the generic rap flow. It's like he couldn't get a rapper. He couldn't get a rapper, so he got Sacagawea's dad to spit bars in an unknown language over an orchestral loop. This is nuts. I can't deal with this. I can't. Listen again. He's going in! Nah. He's going for it! This is absolutely a rap flow. I'm like a Teletubby. I just want it again. He's changed the flow! I don't know whether I like it or not, because I've just memed it immediately as like some sort of coping mechanism, because I actually can't deal with the fact that this is in a battle theme. This is a short battle theme as well. This is like 2 minutes. This is going to loop so many times when you're in game. You're going to spend 150 hours. It's Atlas. You're going to spend 150 hours on this game. And probably thousands of battles listening to this 2-minute loop over and over again with Native American just spitting bars in 2 different rap flows. Like, I don't know whether I'm all for that though. I think experience speaks for itself. I don't really want to analyze this guy because it's too silly. What is this melody? Oh, it's so weavy. Oh, I love it. It's like triumphant weave. That horn melody is crazy. And the choir drop. This guy was setting up a choir drop this whole time. He was the pre-drop. I can't believe this. This is great. Yeah, that's it. I think it was diminished at the end. My brain just kind of like... So we got C minor, B flat major, A flat major, G minor, F minor, which I'm playing as a minor 9 because I'm cheeky, G minor, A flat major, and then like B diminished. Oh, yeah, but the melody though. Oh, no. Wind it back. Okay, so we got da 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 da, which is just a nice little turn around the minor third of the C minor. So we got ba da da da, ba da dum dum. So the interesting thing here is he's augmented the rhythm, which means he's kind of like delayed or stretched out some of the rhythms within that initial melodic fragment of da 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 da. Instead, he's gone da da dum dum. So he's held that D just for a bit of variance, just to make it a little bit more interesting. So you go da 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 da, da 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 da. I love that, because if you think vertically here, if you think kind of like 1 chord at a time, now that we're on G minor and we've got this little fragment here, bum, 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 that fragment sounds dark because in the natural G minor scale, which is just A flat, doesn't really factor in there because the 2 is flattened. So now we're playing in Phrygian. So it's it's like character building. It's like character development. You're starting firmly within minor. And because the A flat is the relative major of the C minor, we can repeat this identical idea, but it's in a different context. The first one is a little darker. The second one's a little brighter. Then when we get to G minor again, we've gone dark again. So it's kind of like flip-flopping between that sort of dichotomy of light and dark. I know, as trite as it sounds, that's kind of what's happening here, for me at least. So I guess the next part of the melody is bum, 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 bum. That's brilliant. So we're firmly within F minor here with the bum, 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 just outlining part of the F minor triad kind of thing. What's interesting here is we go back to our G minor, but we play this second inversion E flat major triad over the top of it, which is a lot brighter than our earlier Phrygian kind of passing note thing that happened earlier. So now we're back to that G minor. We're playing this really, really bright E flat major triad. And then it stays quite bright by playing an A flat major triad, first inversion. So it's these three notes here, which is the A flat, over the top of an A flat major as well. So it's very like congruent. And then I think we move into the diminished. So see how beautifully that loops into itself. It's so good. It's such a precisely put together melody, in that like it so conveniently ends like on an E flat, but it's not so much that it just lands on E flat. It's pulling you back towards that E flat so that it makes you want to hear the melody again. That's awesome. I love that. Anyway, let's recap this. So I have to play the loop again just to push the point that it loops into itself so nicely. This melody is brilliant. This is my favorite part of this piece of music. You know, when you're like waiting for a battle theme to come back around, you're like, oh, I can't wait until the good bit. Like, this is absolutely the good bit. This is the drop. We've got that choir melody as well, which is like a counter melody. What's that doing? Yeah, I really like that. Melodically, we're still in this C minor with an add 2 cluster. So, if we just bring this G up, you'll be able to see it more clearly. It's just a triad with a 2 in it, kind of like. It's a bit like the Final Fantasy Prelude, except minor. This is like... Yeah, I love that. That was like one of the first things I learned. Yeah, I like that. It's not competing too aggressively with the main melody. I think that's the important part about counter melodies. You need it to kind of feel like it's a shadow of the main melody, and it is kind of shadowing the movements. What else is happening here? Yeah, the French horns are mimicking what's happening in the choir. And then we have a melodic variation at the end of the phrase. Yeah, nice. Yeah, then back to that original idea. So the structure is kind of like, your intro, and then you've got your A section. The A section kind of builds up into the climactic B section, which I just consider a drop. My issue with the drop is I think it brings in the choir way too early. If we listen at our Sacagawea's dad drop thing, maybe not having the choir happen there and removing or muting the choir layer and then just like letting our sort of like horn melody fly until maybe the second time round, and then introduce the choir here. I would say that would probably add more drama. If I'm nitpicking, this is a real minor nitpick, because the choral layer is absolutely fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just maybe like a minor arrangement detail at best. Because I didn't know what to hype over first. I was kind of just like overwhelmed by it and like shaken. But yeah, like I kind of wanted to hype over the horn melody and not have this like really loud choral counter melody kind of like distracting me from that. But I think that's just because I'm wired in an interesting way, to say the least. Yeah, when you're making music, think about how you're bringing in layers and dipping out layers. It's super important in terms of like crafting a narrative, I would say. This is my nitpick. This is my critique of this piece of music. It's great. I love it. I'm not 100% sure about the Native American rapping yet, but because I've memed it, I'm a big fan now. But that's my one gripe, apart from our boy rapping over the top, but I'm actually cool with that. It's really idiosyncratic. I'm happy with this. This is not a battle theme that you'd hear in any other game, but I do kind of feel like if you were to remove the weird Native American rapping and that marimba, it just sounds like a Fire Emblem soundtrack a little bit, or it just sounds like something you'd hear in a Soul Calibur stage. I say just, I mean, those games are amazing and the soundtracks in those games are incredible, but perhaps he's using them as a reference. Specifically Fire Emblem. I don't know what Shoji Meguro is doing. He's a god. He gets the god pass. When this game comes out, I'm gonna tear apart this soundtrack limb from limb, and I'm gonna see exactly what he's been doing. I think dissecting music outside of the experience of playing the game can sometimes be a bit of an issue. I'm a little bit averse to like looking at the Nier Automata soundtrack, for example, because I haven't really played it all the way through yet. So I can't really like formulate an entire opinion about it yet. I can only like, you know, magnify and glass the musical elements of it. But these composers are looking at the game that they're making the music for. They're making decisions based off of the game itself, the narrative, the design, like a lot of outside input, well, coming from the team, you know, those things do matter. Connecting those dots is difficult when you haven't played the game. I will no-life this game, and then I'll blast through the soundtrack analysis for this, and you will see all of it. Gonna do like a music in the style of series. So throw whatever you want at me, and I will tear it to shreds and repurpose it. I will bastardize the language.